Good morning, YouTube. Elijah here, and I'm here to bring you your morning DM. If these videos have been a blessing to you, I would encourage you to please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave some comments down at the bottom. That will help this channel to grow and help these videos to get out more to the YouTube algorithm so that other people can be blessed and encouraged as well. And please make sure that you stick around with us today, because I'm going to give you a key ingredient that is needed for us when we run into personal failures in our life. All right, let's begin. So right now we live in one of the weirdest cultures probably of all time, with the rise of social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat. It has given people, plenty of people, a platform where they can get up and they can talk and they can speak about any and everything. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing. Even I'm on YouTube right now using this platform to get out a message about what I think, my opinions, what I agree with, and what I disagree with. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. The problem is that we currently live in a culture that is obsessed with failure. And you may be saying, what do you mean by that? Well, if you look around on any of these social media platforms, the one thing that is shared the most is somebody failing at something and everybody else laughing at it or making an opinion about it. This culture is absolutely obsessed with taking people and watching them fall to their lowest point in their life, wondering how they fail, why they fail, criticizing every move and every decision that they made. So this culture is obsessed with failure. And for a lot of people, that can drive them to try to be perfect in this life, which is absolutely impossible. Each and every one of us is going to experience some type of failure. Many of us have already experienced these failures in life. It can happen in any area of your life, whether it is your health, your mental health, your physical health, your relationships, your relationships with your spouse, with your children, co-workers, family, friends, how you treat other people. We all are going to experience failure at some point in life, but it's not the failures that we experience, but it's how we bounce back once we experience those failures. I remember having a conversation with a friend a while ago. They were going through a very tough situation in their life, and one of the things that they said was, I don't know how God can use me after I've been through this, right? They had been doing so much stuff and feeling like though they were on fire for the Lord, but going through this failure that they experienced in their life made them wonder, does God even still love me enough to use me in the same way that He's been using me before? Does my word have any credibility now that I have this failure? And so that's on the mind of a lot of believers as they go through life and they fail in different areas of their life, whether they miss the mark through sin, miss the mark through their own vices, things that they struggle with. They wonder, can God still use me during this time? Well, let me tell you that there's good news for you, that God can use you even through your failure. In the book of Judges, chapter 16, and speaking specifically in verse 28, it's picking up in the story of Samson. Now, Samson played with his gift, if you remember from the last video, and Delilah had cut his hair, and Samson lost his power, and he was captured by the Philistines. Right? Samson was a leader in Israel. The Bible actually tells us that Samson judged Israel for over 20 years. But he had this personal failure that he was having in his life morally. He was sleeping with prostitutes. He was messing with Deborah, and now his life was in the hands of the Philistines. They had put out his eyes, and he is grinding meal. And now you would think that Samson's story would end, and that you would think that Samson himself would end. Why would Samson want to continue on after he has this public failure and the Philistines have him captured? The Bible goes on to tell us that the Philistines began to have a party, and they brought Samson to be the jester to the party, right? They were celebrating with their god statues nearby, and they brought Samson to come and entertain them because they had defeated this great foe that had caused them so many issues, dealing with it. But Samson's story could have just ended. He could have just faded to black, but he didn't choose to do that. After messing with Delilah, and after being publicly embarrassed, and now they have him in their temple to entertain them during the party, Samson leans between two pillars. And in verse 28, he says, God, remember me this one last time. strengthen me one more time so that I might be avenged from my eyes. And it says that Samson was able to push the pillars, and that in that one moment, he killed more Philistines than he'd done in his entire ministry. Right? And all of this happened because Samson took a posture of humility. Samson had known that he messed up. He had known that he had broke his Nazirite vows. He had known that he had been out of position for so long. But instead of embracing pride and embracing his failure and staying in that position, no, he took a position of humility and went to the only one that was able to restore him and allow him to bounce back in his life. He went to God in humility with a humble heart. Not self-righteous, not arrogantly, but saying, God, remember me. Remember the gift that you gave me. Remember me in my lowest form. And God, restore back to me just a little bit of that, so God, that I can make sure that you're honored in this moment, because now they're trying to use my failure as a way to boast against you. And I don't want that to be the end of my story. And many of us, you have failed. You have gone to your low point. You may even feel that you've embarrassed God. I would encourage you, don't stay there, but go back to God. Ask him to remember you. Ask him to forgive you. Repent. Ask him to restore you. And your bounce back story can be better than your original story. But you have to have a heart of humility. So many people have died in pride. Their story has ended in pride. You must make the decision that if you fail, that your story won't end in pride, but it'll end in a place of humility, so God can bring you back and your bounce back can be better than your original story. So brothers and sisters, I encourage you on today, if you're met with some type of failure, and regardless of what area it is in your life, go to the one that is able to give you that strength one more time to get back on the right course. My name is Elijah. That's your morning DM. I pray that you were blessed. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave me a comment down at the bottom. Let me know if this was a blessing. Let me know if it made sense, and I look forward to seeing you next time. You all have a blessed day.